When we give and get nothing in return, that's actually not helpful for us. Hello, my name is Augustus. If you want to learn social skills, build lasting relationships, and grow your confidence, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. This is the fourth part of a 5-part series to help you keep a conversation going and make it more interesting. I got 6 tips to share for you, and if you want, you can comment down below and let me know what's the conversation tip that you can share with us. Now, the first tip is the 60-40 rule. The 60-40 rule is where you give 60% of the time and you receive 40% of the time. Most of the time, we're in a place where we're giving and giving, but we're not really getting anything back. And that feels weird. Most of the time, we're in this place in conversations where we might be listening all the time. And that's not really a good place. When we are listening, we're giving our time, our resources to the other person so that we can help that person out. But when we give and get nothing in return, that's actually not helpful for us. The other side will start expecting that giving to be the norm. If you give and getting nothing in return, that is normal. But that is not supposed to be the case. So that's why you have to draw the 60-40 rule. When you're giving more than 60%, pull back. And when you're giving less than 60%, push to that 60% mark. And this will help make that conversation a little more balanced so that it's not so one-sided all the time. And why do we want to give more than we take? It's because it's to show the other person that we're not trying to take advantage of them. So we're always wanting to give just a little bit more. Now, the second tip I have for you is don't fill in all the silences. Sometimes silences can be good. Silences can be what's allowing the other person to think. It can probe the other person to generate some kind of things for us to talk about. Silences are not always bad. So don't try to fill up every moment of silence, and it will make you seem less anxious and wanting this conversation to go overly well or something. Now, the third tip I have for you, one of my personal favorites, is give enough materials for the other person to respond. A lot of times we're thinking about the things that we'd like to talk about, and when it stops, it stops. We're not thinking about covering a range of different topics when we respond so that the person can bounce off of these topics and be able to prolong this conversation. When you talk about a certain topic, give details. If you're talking about ice cream, what was the ice cream like? What does it taste like? What's the color? Where did you get it? When did you get it? All these different details will allow for the other person to think of some kind of connection to connect to your topic of ice cream so that they will have something to talk about next. Now, the fourth tip. If someone asks you a question, it's natural to ask them the same question. Let's say if someone asks you, how's your week? You can respond to them and then carry a conversation through that topic. And when that topic comes to a halt, you can go back and start another one and ask about their week. And this will naturally keep the conversation going for much longer. Now, the fifth tip that I have for you is show that you're enjoying the conversation. Don't laugh for no reason, but if you find something funny, laugh. If you're enjoying it, say, oh man, dude, this conversation is so nice. I love it. Say different things like that to help the other person understand that you actually want to talk to them. There are some people that will stop talking because they think you don't want to talk. So you want to give off signals that suggests and tells them that you want to be in this conversation. Now, the last tip I have for you is know when to end the conversation. Knowing when to end the conversation is very important. Sometimes people will deliberately let the conversation grow to a halt and not say anything because they actually want the conversation to end so that they can do something else. They can do other commitments. Maybe they have a different meeting they have to get to or different responsibilities. We don't know. But when the person wants to end the conversation, end the conversation. Don't linger. The more you linger and try to drag on the conversation, you'll actually make that conversation experience worse. And then it all goes downhill, and that person might not want to talk to you again. Why? Because you dragged on an additional 10-15 minutes and stuck beside the person when the person wants to go and do something else. Like, this doesn't mean that you're less important as a person or the person doesn't think you're significant. It just means that the person has other schedules in the person's day, and that person wants to be able to do something else. So it's not personal. So when you're talking to someone, don't try to make the conversation as long as possible. When the conversation is supposed to end it, and then move on. As a reminder, if you don't want to miss any of these videos, hit that subscribe button. This is part 4 of a 5-part series to help you keep a conversation going and to make it more interesting. So look out for the last one that's coming. Stay strong, stay healthy, and I'll talk with you soon.